Good morning everyone, it's Scott here. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Haven't done this before. We're going to cover US energy stocks and we're going to do monthly trading analysis on US energy stocks. So what that means is we'll be looking at the bigger time frames and picking, I think there's about 13 stocks that we're going to look at. And this page you can see here, each of the names on it, Chevron, Conoco, Statoil, etc. You can click those links and then they're actually clickable links and that'll skip you to the part of the video that's actually covers that section. So or covers that stock. So if you're not interested in seeing the whole thing, you're just interested in one of those stocks, just click one of those links and you'll skip to the section specifically about that stock. Okay, so let's make a start. So we've got here Chevron. So as you can see here, Chevron this is on the weekly time frame. So you can see here the long term going way back, Chevron was trading right down here at $3.50, right? And then around about 2000 you can see that there's from here an impulse and then a correction. Impulse and correction. So the impulse is where it's makes a strong move, and a correction where it's basically going sideways and pulls back, but doesn't pull back the whole way. So impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Now the reason I believe we're reversing that is because if this was a correction and an impulse, it would be right up off the screen, but we're not. So what I'm looking at here is an impulse down, and then this is a corrective move. So if we now pull in closer to a 1 day, and I'm going to remove this one, hide this one. So now you can see here that this this impulse down here and then this corrective structure, I believe could run up as high as this line here. So what I'd be looking for to take this trade is for it to break out either down here. So I'd be looking at it coming down, and then what it would do is it would retest, and then let's just do that better. So it would go down something like this. So retest, and then go down, right, and then it would go all the way down. Let's just get that. Cool. So my target for that would be down to here, so that would be the next impulse, and then there would be I believe there'd be like a corrective structure there, somewhere around there, and then the next impulse would be potentially down here or down here. So I think there's a lot of down potential here, and I'd be looking for the breakout of this triangle here down before looking to take that position. And of course if it breaks out and up, then that pretty much invalidates that trade opportunity. Okay, moving on to ConocoPhillips. So let's get into the weekly view. Similar kind of pattern, I guess, is that trading at a very low level for a while, and then you can see we start getting these impulse and then quite a deep correction, and then we've done like a big run up. So this one I think we've had impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction. So I'd be looking for that final impulse down to the 16, 17 mark there. And, same thing again if we look at the daily chart. I think this one's almost started on its way down, because I'd be, you can see that it's broken out of that would have been my You know, I think you can see that it's broken out from that upward channel. It's retested like we were suggesting the other one would do, something like that. And then you can see it's starting to make a movement down. So we'd be looking for a sell signal on this one, a sell position on a lower time frame, and we can go into that as the opportunities come up during the week. Okay, Statoil. Go to the weekly. Similar patterns for many of these because they're all energy boom bust. Had their boom, now they're on their way to a bust. So you can see with this one, it's quite a chopping around quite a bit, but I think with this one I'm targeting that it's either going to break up and then it's potentially, I think, could work its way all the way up here, or again would be looking for it to tip out and then retest this upward trend, and then the downward, I think you're targeting, you know, somewhere down in the $6.50 range for that one on the breakdown. EOG Resources, again similar pattern. Let's get rid of that one. So impulse correction, well, that's probably impulse correction, impulse, and now we're doing it in reverse. So let's just have a look at the daily. So this one's same deal. I think this is the upward trend line, so as long as it's working its way up this, I think it'll probably reach about here. Potentially if it breaks that one, it could reach all the way up to 101, moving up that trend line. But I'd be looking for, once it breaks past this trend line, then wait for the retest, and then that would be the sell opportunity. Schlumberger. Apologies if I get the pronunciation of any of these wrong. So we go out to the week on this one. So again, you can see we've got moving around at a fairly low range for a while and a couple of impulses, and I think this one's quite a choppy one because it's massive impulse and massive pullback and then choppy all the way up. But either way, it's still got a similar pattern where I think this is the trend line that it's following up, and as long as it keeps moving up, I think it could hit here. If it keeps going, then it could, you know, could work its way all the way up to this upper line here. But as soon as it starts breaking past this trend line, we'd be looking for a retest and then a breakdown. General Electric. So let's get to the week. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. There we go. Get rid of that one. So this one is, I think, yeah, I guess same kind of deal with. I've got a trend line here, which you see it actually broke down and stayed up on, so that's why you're looking for a break and retest, because you see here it actually broke out, and then instead of retesting and going down, it's actually broken down and then come back up into the trend line. So that's why you wait for the break of the trend line, the retest, and then it confirms that it's not going to go back up into that trend line. So for that one, I think it could go all the way up to 42 and just work its way up there, and I would imagine somewhere around there it's going to either break up or break out, or break down, sorry, and I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get that far, if it stops somewhere around here, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, Marathon Oil Corp. Okay, similar kind of deal. I think this one's actually got a bit of a not so exciting story to it. It's had its heyday, but actually now, when you compare it to some of the other ones, you see it's already back at it's already reached its lows. So I think this one's actually something not quite right about it, because it's well down compared to many of the other ones. So I think this is one to be careful of. I don't know what's wrong with it, but compared to all the others, they're all up here somewhere, and this one's already hit its low. So if we go into a lower time frame, same kind of deal, looking at potentially either following up the trend line and then tapping somewhere like that, or actually just breaking down. And like anything, there's a possibility that it can break up and out, so that's why we wait for confirmation. National-Oilwell Varco. So let's go into the weekly view for that one. Okay, so this one, I think you can see it's massive booms and busts on this one, but it's looking definitely like you've got impulse, correction, impulse, slightly bigger correction, but I still think there's a better chance for impulse down, correction, impulse down. So I still think there's more down, and either to 1925 or potentially as low as 756. And if we go into the shorter time frames, we can see that this one, I would expect it's going to cruise up this line, and it's either going to tap this top line here and either break up, or at some point between now and that top line actually break down. So wait for the retest and then sell. Okay, next one, Valero Energy Corp. Alright, so this one's interesting. It's slightly different than the others. So I think there's a lot of potential downside still to come for this one. And I think that while there's, you can see there'd be my targets down there, 13 and 3.78. But if you go into the daily, there's actually not a real good sell opportunity yet on this one. So it's just wait for that one. So it's kind of bouncing down this trend line. So you could sell it here and hope that it continues to move down the trend line. But usually what this would indicate is you're waiting for a potential break and an upward move. So you might find, you see how here it then breaks and then you get the consolidation. So this is like almost like it's having an impulse, and potentially you might see it break out and then do a consolidation and then do its bigger move down. So I think there's a bit of risk with this one, that it's not going to, it's this line here would be potentially where it bounces off. So let's just have a look on the day. So this line here, you can see that there's a possibility that it's either going to bounce up there or even make it down to this region here and then bounce. So it's probably, with this one, it's probably worth waiting, and then when you wait for the correction, because it'll almost certainly correct at some point, and then after the correction you've got the opportunity to sell. if you're interested in buying Valero, then maybe that would be a buy setup for you, either when it breaks out or off the bounce of this lower line. But I think that's probably not the safer trade. I think there's more downside to come here than upside. So you might find that going long's a short consolidation, and then the impulse is down for a bigger move. Okay, Sunoco. I think I'm saying it right. Yep. Okay, so for this one, let's just get out into the weekly time frame. This one, yeah, this one I'm not too sure about. It's hard to tell based on what is. I think with this one, it's not clear if there's more up or down. So I think with this one, you can see I've got here just a triangle kind of pattern on it. So I think with that one, you could just wait until it breaks out of that triangle, and then there's a possibility that it could go either way. So if it breaks out, just wait for the retest and go long, or if it breaks down, then just wait for the retest and go short. So, but I don't think, it's not clear if there's more up or down in this one. So Weatherfort International. So let's get rid of that one again. Go into the weekly. Okay, is that all we got? No. Okay, so here's another good example where we've got a long-term price range where it's down in the, maybe up to the $2 range, and now it's $6. So I think it's pretty fair to say it's on a solid downward trend. Maybe this one's a better one. So look, I don't think this one, I think it's got probably a potential correction in it somewhere, so maybe come out here, and then it looks like probably it's going to continue down to that $2 mark. So I think probably the right place, if you're interested in buying it, might be down there somewhere. Wait for it to come down here, and then that might be a potential longer term buy setup, or you never know, it might just stay down in that range then. Okay, so HP, Helmerick and Payne. Okay, so this is an interesting one. So you can see we kind of got quite a continuous trend. So whereas the other ones, they're already showing like signs of breaking down, whereas this one actually has appears to have a stronger impulse up, or not so much downside yet. So, but I still think that, as you can see, there's a long range of running in this, I guess from $14 to $4 range, and then you can see around about here there's impulse and impulse, and I think it's fair to say we've got a pretty good impulse down here and then a correction. I mean, it looks very corrective, and that triangle there, I think, so we've got this line here is one possibility that it could reach. So I think that would be, I would say that that's a corrective, and that it's more likely to break down out of that lower trend line. I mean, it's basically like a ascending triangle. So I think you could say that it's either going to just move up within there and either break up and out, or break down and out. And either way, just wait for the confirmation and then trade accordingly. So we'll be looking at these on lower time frames as they become more tradable, I guess, or as they're breaking out of these patterns. Okay, so last one, I had to look this one up. Chesapeake Energy Corp. Okay, so this is another one I think that it's probably not a good one to get involved in. It's had a big up move, and I think, you know, it could reach as low as, I don't know, maybe $1.80, but it's only $4.42. So I think, you know, if you were to look at a good time to buy, if you thought this was a good company, then I still think this would probably be too early. And given that most of the other companies have, you know, they're not come down so far, that makes you wonder kind of what it is about this company that the values is lost so substantially. So I think in some ways it's a bit of a high risk. Might be better to stay away from it anyway. Yeah, so potentially I think with this one, if we were to say what's the trade setup, you could say it's almost like a buy there, but I have a funny feeling it's still not going to go up. It'd be like a correction of some description and then down, and then potentially would be the better opportunity if you want to. I know, yeah. So, alright, so that's it. So please feel free to give any feedback, suggestions. If you want me to do more regular analysis on any of these stocks, or if I miss some of the US energy stocks or any others, anything else you'd like me to do some analysis on, just let me know. I want to focus more on the things that people are asking for and interested in and getting some value out of. So just let me know. Alright, thank you very much. Have a good day.